It has been a long time since I have recorded an episode for you because I have been facilitating the 9-week meditation program. And we will be in week 8 on Monday, and it has been absolutely wonderful. I am extremely pulled to record this episode for you today because my gorgeous son, Joel, graduated from year 12 high school yesterday. And I am on a high. I really am. Beautiful, beautiful day of celebrations. So much honor. The school did an incredible job. So I'm here, and there's a few things I want to share with you today. Before I get into the episode, there is something that I'm really proud to announce. I have not offered any coaching programs for new people in quite a few years now. I have had the great honor of working with returning clients, and this is where my focus has been and my joy. And yet, through this 9-week meditation program, I have met a yearning, a really great yearning inside of me to focus my attention and energy on growing and growing and growing this community who are dedicated to living a life of authenticity and fullness and fulfillment and magic and no regrets. And so therefore, it's time for me to open my arms and welcome new people who I haven't worked with before, or perhaps there might be some returning people as well, and to let you know what I received through the 9-week meditation program. I received a new program that I had no expectation about. This also happened in the first 9-week meditation program in January to March, where a new program for graduates, Sacred Leadership, was born. But this time, a new program for new people, or perhaps returning clients, was born. It's called The Next Generation of You. There are 2 offers. There's a mastermind, a 6-month mastermind, and there's also an offering for 3 months, one-on-one, with laser sharp coaching from me. I know that the next generation of me is here. And so therefore, I know that the people that I'm here to support, that the next generation of themselves is also here. So what I received through this meditation program is that these programs are here to facilitate breakthrough moments of arrival. I have noticed that there are people in my orbit who feel like they've been in transition. They feel like they've been in the transit lounge. They've been waiting for that moment of arrival. And these programs are here to facilitate those breakthrough moments of arrival so that you no longer feel like you're in the transit lounge, so that you feel like you've fully landed in your power. And the way that we'll do that is through energetic, visionary, and practical alignment. I know that what I'm here for is to support people to experience wealth in all ways, in not only in their business, but also their life. And the way that we do that is by holding space for you to be in uncompromising self-responsibility, regardless of the circumstances, authenticity, intuition, power, and grace. And we do this without the hustle, without external props, and without personal cost. So I'll talk to you more about the mastermind at the end of this episode. But if you're pulled and have been pulled either through the meditation program to do some work with me or through what I'm about to share with you, please continue listening. Yeah, I'm really super excited. The mastermind has a new structure, totally different to how I have run the mastermind for the last 10 years. And it's really, really exciting. And the reason why I want to start either the mastermind with you or the 3-month one-on-one program now in October, we'll be starting in the middle of October, is because I want you to finish the year feeling really powerful. I don't want you to wait for January or February to finally feel powerful. I know my work right now is to have people land in their power now. And so let's start in October. All right. What I want to talk to you about now is something that I did share in the 9-week meditation program. I organized an extra group call, and I positioned that extra group call in a way that I wanted to demonstrate how meditation has helped me create a really successful business. In this episode, I'm choosing to timeline my life out for you, not only so that you can see the power of meditation, but more so in this conversation, so that you can see how I have benefited from taking 100% personal responsibility for my life, how I have benefited from knowing that authenticity is profitable, how I have benefited from the power of intuition and grace, and how I have built a really successful coaching business, particularly over the last 10 years, without personal cost, without hustle, and without any external props. So let me demonstrate my life to you, because what we would be doing in the Mastermind or the 3-month coaching program is exactly the journey that I've taken over really the last 20 years. That's where it all began, and very much so over the last 10 years. And I'm also hoping that by sharing my timeline, that you will receive your own aha moments, that you'll actually have a few breakthrough moments of arrival yourself simply by listening in to this episode. So let me take you back to where it all first started. So 1999. So up until 1999, I was very happily working in human resources. I was the director of human resources for 3 5-star hotels in the city in Sydney. And I was being groomed for a Pacific region role. And I was really happy. I never thought that I'd do anything other than what I was doing. And yet crisis hit in February 1999. I had my first boy, Joshua, and he was very sick. And he was born on the 11th of February, and he passed away. We took him off life support on the 22nd of February. And as you can imagine, it was a time full of suffering, crisis, really. Also in my marriage, I'm married to a different person now. That marriage was full of emotional and physical abuse. And I finally left, and I lost myself for a few years, as you can imagine. Then in 2002, a really dear friend of mine said, really highly encouraged me actually to do this 8-month personal growth program. And I'm a Taurian, so initially I said no, because I don't like to do what I'm told. And then serendipity happened, and I happened to meet the teacher, and I signed up on the spot. And it was the best thing that I ever did at the time. I learned on that program the power of taking 100% personal responsibility for my life. I learned on that program a paradigm of cause and effect. And I was able, by going to that place of cause, I was able to become free of the suffering that I had just experienced. I learned that I had beliefs that I never knew existed within myself, beliefs of unworthiness, beliefs of not good enoughness, beliefs of powerlessness. And yeah, those beliefs created the reality that I experienced. In fact, pretty awesome in a not so good way reality, because that reality that I just shared with you was a perfect match for those beliefs of unworthiness and not good enoughness and powerlessness. I was able to shift out of being victim. I was able to shift out of suffering and being in blame at my ex-husband and at those circumstances. And I felt free. And the next piece along that journey was really connecting in with my intuition. And through the power of meditation, I went into a stream of consciousness writing where I heard my baby, Joshua, speak to me. And he said to me, "You're here to ignite people's spirits and hearts. 11 days was all I needed. That's what you did for me. And now I do the same for you." I had no idea what those words meant, except my body was flooded with emotion, as you can imagine. And I knew that those words were golden. I knew that those words, "You're here to ignite people's spirits and hearts. 11 days was all I needed. That's what you did for me. And now I do the same for you." I knew there was treasure in those words. And when I share this story, which I have so many times already, I'm still kind of flabbergasted at how brave I was, because I decided to leave my HR job to go and explore what these words meant. How bloody brave was I to do that, considering that I was being groomed, for this regional position? So I did. And every day I tuned in, I meditated on those words. And then 6 months later, I had the first version of what that looked like. And the first version was to bring the freedom that I had from taking 100% personal responsibility and bringing the power that I was experiencing by really connecting with my intuition. I wanted to go and bring that into corporates. It made so much sense to me, especially having worked in HR and having experienced all the conflict and the politics and all the blaming that can happen. I thought, wow, I've got a golden answer here to that. And so I did that. I ran a program initially for 6 months with a financial services company. And the beautiful thing about that experience was I ran a workshop for the first 4 days of that program. In fact, I ended up coaching that business for a couple of years. But after the first 4 days of that program, there was so much richness in people's transformation process that they said, could we please put on this program for their husbands and wives? Which we did. And then that ball, that personal alarm, kept on rolling. So this was from 2004 until 2011. Then in 2011, I kind of lost myself again. I lost my confidence. So up until then, I had partnered with my best male friend, who, in my perception, did all the sales. And then in 2011, he and I decided to complete the partnership. It happened from a place of joy, and to know who each of us were in our own 100%, rather than being the David and Giselle show. With that perception that David was the salesperson and I wasn't, I went through a really tough couple of years. I decided to partner with some other people, not knowing at the time that what I was seeking for them was to rescue me. And that was never going to work. And I also handed my power over to all the marketers and consultants that were helping us. And I was turning myself inside out, taking on their advice, changing myself, changing my languaging, changing my communication, taking on strategies that they advised. And all in all, the summary of all of that was that no money was being earned, or very little money was being earned. And I was experiencing so much anxiety because I was turning myself inside out. And those 2 years came at great personal cost. personal cost to my health for the anxiety that I was feeling, and personal cost to my family because I was bringing in very little money and we were going into more debt and more debt and more debt. And I think I clocked up about 90,000 on the line of credit over those 2 years, paying coaches and consultants and also for our life, and for it to come to nothing. I ended, or let me say it differently, I had a massive panic attack whilst I was facilitating a workshop, and that was my wake-up call for me to say no more. So I left that business, and I felt very hopeless and helpless for a few months. And then one day I was going for a run, and whilst I was going for a run, I got the message, stop and meditate. And I'm thinking, what? I'm going for a run. What are you telling me to stop and meditate for? Well, I did. I stopped and I sat on a bench over at Freshwater Headland by the ocean. I closed my eyes, and then all of a sudden, I could see the divine perfection, the sacred purpose of all of that suffering that I experienced from 2011 to 2013. And that was that I was doing everything that I was told on how to run a business, turning myself inside out, distrusting myself, giving my power away, being inauthentic, putting on a mask because I was told to. And I now knew that none of that worked. And not only that, I knew that there were many people just like me who were still doing that themselves. And all of a sudden, I had an epiphany. And the epiphany was, I am not here for everyone. I am here for people just like me who are traveling the road that I have just traveled, believing that's where the answers lie. That's where their success is going to come from. And I now know different. I had floods of tears once again, because not only had I taken 100% personal responsibility again for who I had been, that had created nothing except for pain, and also because I had seen the sacred purpose, just like I did in 2002 when Joshua spoke to me, that I was here to ignite people's spirits and hearts. I was once again experiencing this breakthrough moment of arrival, and I felt free. I went home and I decided to write because I've always loved writing. So I just wrote out stream of consciousness once again. And then after I wrote that out on my computer, I read it and I thought, wow, that's actually a good piece of writing. How about I put that on Facebook, which is where I always put all of my writings, but how about this time I attach an offering to it, which I'd never done before. So for fun, and because I was free and I didn't care what people thought of me, I decided to attach what was then a 6-month offering for $10,000. And that night, 2 people messaged me through Messenger. All that I showed up as was in my intuition. I could feel what was going on for them. I could feel it because I had just been that. And 2 people signed up through Facebook Messenger that night to that program back then. $20,000 revenue made through Facebook Messenger, not even a conversation. I was blown away, absolutely blown away. And from that moment onwards, the term authenticity is profitable was coined and has been a founding premise of all the work that I've done over the last 10 years with people. I want to share something with you that I've been given permission to share. I asked those graduates who are in the Sacred Leadership Program to share with me from their eyes what it is that I do with them. I wanted to hear from their eyes so that I could better share with you what it is that I do, because sometimes it's actually quite hard to share what I do. Now, this amazing person came to me in, I think it was 2016, and I have coached with her on and off over the years, and she's currently in the Sacred Leadership Program. She said this to me. You asked the sacred leaders recently for examples of how your coaching has helped us in the early days in some tangible ways. For me at that time, bonded with sitting in brokenness with my husband, you created an immediate shift for me from powerlessness to powerfulness, when you helped me see that I was in fact unconsciously choosing my reality and why. This was a game changer for me. It helped me remember how powerful I was. It helped me realize that I choose how my life looks, and I can either do this unconsciously or consciously. It was like a secret superpower you helped unveil that I then got to apply to every aspect of my life: finances, relationships, family, my purpose. Everything changed immediately and effortlessly. All that was required, I realized, was a commitment to accepting personal responsibility for everything and a practice to strengthen my intuition, so I was choosing from a state of presence. To see how I was freely giving away my power by blaming others for what was turning up in my life and not taking personal responsibility, and that this also created a victim-rescuer dynamic that disempowered both my husband and I. This immediately released me from the trauma bond we had created in our businesses. Huge, in capital letters, shifts immediately. Then she said, this then led us to buying a block of land, building a new family home after being forced to sell our previous home, paying off a $240,000 debt to my family, repaying an $80,000 Australian tax office debt, creating a position for myself within a company that provides me with financial security, taking our family on an overseas holiday for the first time, and 2 more since then, etc., etc. So many tangible outcomes. I've only just seen how the power of my vulnerability played in all of this. I've certainly seen the power of personal responsibility, but now I see the powerful role that vulnerability played in all of this. So that is the immediate application through my leadership of what I had shifted from fear and suffering to freedom and peace, and to more clarity around my own leadership. So I've been running a mastermind, the Catalyst Mastermind, for the past 10 years. And then in June this year, when the Sacred Leadership Program was born, I actually had no energy for that mastermind. It felt dead to me, and so I let it go. And I didn't know that another mastermind was going to be birthed, which it now has through the 9-week meditation program, through what I received. But before I share about the structure of this mastermind, the piece that I really want to share with you here is that I was in conversation with someone recently who said to me, she works with many, many coaches. And she said to me, wow, it's really incredible that you have built a really successful coaching business from authenticity, intuition, and from an organic growth point. That I've used none of the sales and marketing strategies that coaches out there are taught to use. I've done no lead generation work. I've done no sales funnels, ads, etc. All that I've done over the past 10 years is be really present to my process, see the grace in my process, see the perfection of my process, be in one of my zones of genius, which is sharing. I love, 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 love to share. And so I've been sharing on the podcast, and I've been sharing through writing. That has been the way that I've built a really successful business. I have not hustled. I haven't used external prompts like all those sales strategies. And for the past 10 years, as opposed to 2011 to 13, there has been no personal cost and only great, great personal gain, wonderful gain for my family, and most importantly, incredible shifts and transformation for the people that I have been blessed to work with. Last week, I realized I have not let people know what I do or how I do it in years. Only the people that have been working with me, these beautiful, loyal, returning clients, are the ones who know what I do and how I do it. And so I realized last week that I have an obligation to tell you. And so I'm going to. And what's wonderful about it is that I'm telling you it in the form of this new structure of a mastermind and this new focus, that I know that I'm here to work with people who are in transition. And I know I'm here not to work with people so that their experience of their powerfulness is in the future out there and sometime in the future. Like last year, the words that were coming out of my mouth were, and I recorded some episodes to this, it's okay to be powerful. You're allowed to be powerful. Meaning that powerfulness is in the future. No, this year we are to land in our powerfulness now. We are to land in our powerfulness now. And so the mastermind that I used to run for 10 years was a year-long mastermind. I'm pulled now to create a much shorter runway because we are to experience our powerfulness now. And so this new mastermind, the next generation of you mastermind, is a 6-month mastermind. It has a shorter runway for you to land in your power. I'm really excited by this new structure, not only in the time frame, in that shorter runway of a 6-month time frame, but if I was in transition and I had not yet landed, knowing what I'm about to tell you, I'd want to bloody do this program myself. So how it's going to work is we do this for 6 months. Every month you have a one-on-one, laser-sharp focused session with me. So 2 times a month, a one-on-one with me. Also in each month, you will receive, and I'm so overjoyed to share this, you will receive another session with someone who has done so much for me, Penny Patterson. She is a magician. She is an energy alignment practitioner. And I have been supported by Penny many, many times. And I've been supported by her with some really profound, like I'm talking really profound, that I will never forget what she did for me moments. And so I want you to have that too. So every month you'll have 2 one-on-one sessions with me. You'll have 1 energetic alignment session with Penny, and then we'll come together on a group call every month for 6 months. In addition to that, I'm going to introduce you to somebody else that's very special in my life. Natalie Symes. Natalie has been coaching with me for many years. She's one of the sacred leaders too, as is Penny. And Natalie has a way of grouping words together and communicating in such a way that when she does that, I get to see new perspectives that I had not yet considered. And those new perspectives create breakthrough moments of arrival. Natalie and I are going to run 2 workshops for you together so that through her new perspectives, you have even more breakthrough moments of arrival for yourself. So it is going to be a very accelerated, high presence, high commitment program that is dedicated, as long as you put the work in, as long as you take responsibility, as long as you give everything to this, that is going to create many breakthrough moments of arrival so that you are no longer in the transit lounge, no longer waiting, so that you finally feel like you have arrived. The application of this can take the form of many parts of your life. It can take the form of your business, your career. It can take the form of your health and well-being, your relationships, your finances. And as you shift one thing in your life, that ripple of impact hits into all the other parts of your life. So you might come in for business, yet your relationship then improves. You might come in for a relationship, yet your sense of purpose improves. So I'm super, super excited. We're going to start on the 23rd of October. That week, I'm going to start all together. I will still be enrolling into this program going forward, but I have a huge pull, as I said, to start now because I want you, if this is for you, I want you to be in your power by the end of the year. I don't want you to wait next year. So I'm dedicated to this. Penny's dedicated to this. Natalie's dedicated to this. You've got a super team. And as long as you're dedicated to yourself, we're going to create some magic. So that's the next generation of you 6-month mastermind. If you prefer not to be in a group environment to begin with, and you prefer the safety and the intimacy of a one-on-one structure, I'm also offering this in a 3-month one-on-one container with me. This is not only for new people, this 3-month one-on-one container, but also for people who are called or pulled to return to work with me. And the same thing with the 6-month next generation of you mastermind. For new people, so that I meet that yearning to grow the community. And let me tell you why. There is so much magic through the interconnectedness of community. So much magic. I can't do all that by myself, but in a divine ecosystem, which is how I run groups, there is a volume of magic for you to experience by being in communion with each other. Thank you for listening to part of my timeline. Thank you for listening to my message about how proud I am to have created a successful coaching business from a place of authenticity, from a place of personal responsibility, from a place of intuition and grace. Thank you for listening to my demonstration that we can create successful businesses. We can have beautifully fulfilling lives without hustle, without personal cost, and without external props. Thank you for understanding that my way is it has to be energy first. We have to come into energetic and visionary alignment first. We can't go and do the strategy first. I did that 2011 to 13. It did not work. We are the answer. And I'm really proud of declaring that. In fact, I feel like I'm being very directed to tell you this. I'm really proud to own, to hold, and to share that premise that you are the answer. Your energetic and visionary alignment is number one. And this is what my coaching is about. And this is why when I read that beautiful lady's story, who gave me permission to share with you, it has been all about her energetic and visionary alignment. And I feel like that's a breath of fresh air in this coaching world. I also feel like another breath of fresh air is that I don't work in the trauma cycle. Because we work from a place of taking unconditional self-responsibility regardless of the circumstances. I know that sometimes it's really hard to do so, but I know that we can. We do not get locked into the trauma cycle. I'm also not dehumanizing our trauma experiences, but I'm coming and responding to it from a paradigm that created my freedom with the death of my baby and horrible ending of marriage and all that suffering, and the freedom of many other people. If you're pulled to explore with me, there is an application form in the show notes. I would love you to take a moment to complete that. And once I have received that, I'll get in contact with you and we will book in a time to chat. The final piece I want to say, which relates back to that big epiphany that I had when I sat on that bench by the ocean in freshwater. is that I know that I'm not here for everybody. How freeing is that? I know that I'm here, and I say this every time I have a discovery call. It's how I frame it up. I know that I'm here for people who feel like they have a soul connection with me and that our souls are meant to do this thing together. So you'll know that. You'll feel it. Don't be scared of it. I'm not scared of it. I'm welcoming of it. And I have a huge smile on my face as I say that. Thank you for being with me on this podcast episode. Ciao, ciao.